Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. In this video we will be looking at the Davidoff Winston Churchill Limited Edition 2019 The Traveller.
Hello and welcome to Bespoke Unit. My name's Paul Anthony.
I'm CP.
And I'm Klaas Kelner.
And today we're going to be looking at the Winston Churchill Traveller from Davidoff. That's a limited edition of 8,000 boxes, I believe, so 80,000 cigar total run. And we've been lucky enough to get a box here from Klaas during our trip to the Dominican Republic, where we are exploring all things cigars. You can also check the link below where we have reviewed the two prior Winston Churchill blends, the original and the late hour. But in this video, we're going to be focusing in on this particular cigar. So Charles, I know you have a few questions for Klaas, so let's get going.
I think the first question would be, what's the occasion for releasing this limited edition?
We have released two lines. One is the original, one is the late hour. They're both inspired around the man, Winston Churchill. The original taking all his different facets, his different characters, and putting them all into one cigar. The late hour is a cigar that we got inspired by thinking about what Winston Churchill was doing in that moment of need at late hour when he was in deep thought. And he was never without his whiskey in his cigar, a cigar that is made with barrel-aged tobaccos as well. Whiskey barrels, by the way. And for this case, we've decided to do a limited edition, and we are being inspired by his traveling nature, by his passion for traveling. Winston Churchill was a wayfarer, was an explorer, and was somebody that traveled all over the world. So this has been the inspiration behind it, and the blend and even the packaging are all inspired by this theme.
Yeah, I mean, within this box itself, there's actually a Boveda pack under there. So this is actually kind of a travel humidor in itself.
Yeah, and we have actually decorated the box to have basically a leather, faux leather kind of design that basically is inspired by leather traveling cases. And you can see that the box itself comes with the Winston Churchill silhouette, and it actually has the stamps of different locations that Churchill would travel to.
We've got London, Washington,
Marrakesh.
And then we also have the kind of silhouette of the Union Jack there. So as Charles-Philippe and I are both British.
By origin.
It's definitely a a line from Davidoff that resonates with me. I'm a traveller. I like to travel a lot. Being British, so this was definitely right up my alley. So when I heard news of this coming out, I was definitely interested in tasting this cigar. So how does it compare? The blend to the other two releases? Because
this is a limited edition, we have had the opportunity to play around a little bit more, right? So we have definitely made a much bolder experience. The cigar itself comes in a smaller format. For a limited edition lately, and you're seeing a lot of Toros out there in the market, a lot of bigger limited edition cigars. And this is a cigar that is a Robusto shape. So definitely, it's inspired for you're traveling, you're moving around, and it's for those moments where you can sneak in a cigar, right? And you can take it with you because it is always humidified because it has the humidifying pack. Not only this, but there's another format only available in duty free, so at airports, that is a Corona format, and it comes in small packs. So whenever you're in an airport, like in Europe or anywhere else in the world, if you see duty free and you have Davidoff there, look for it. I mean, it was a limited release, so there won't be too many, but that's another format where the blend acts beautifully, and it's also much more different than the traditional original and the late hour cigar.
So how many actual tobaccos are in this blend?
In this cigar, there's 7 types of tobacco from 3 different countries.
Okay.
So you got your Dominican, you got your Nicaraguan, and you also got your Mexican.
Kind of again touching on that traveler theme.
Exactly. And for the wrapper in this case, whereas the original and the late hour, we use Ecuadorian, an Habano type, a lighter version and then a darker version for the late hour. We actually travel to outside of the growing region, we travel to Yamasa. So the wrapper is a Yamasa Dominican, which gives a nice spice and sweetness to the cigar.
It's a very proud region for you and your family.
Yes.
which is great. And then when we're looking at the kind of flavor profile that one can expect from this, if we look at the first, second, and final third, what can people expect to taste?
Well, we're already halfway to the cigar, but at the beginning, I wonder if you guys noticed that there was a much more blast of flavors, more so than you would get in the original in the late hour.
I got this kind of caramelized note in the first third. What about yourself, Paul?
I definitely got some spice on the initial opening, which is definitely mellowed out to this point, and then some, earthy and, woodiness. So.
Yeah, the beginning is a lot more intense. You feel it towards the back of the palate. You get those earthy notes, you get those wooden notes, stronger oaky notes, right? And as you go past the first inch of the cigar into the second third, you're gonna start some of those initial intensities mellow out a little bit. That's partly due because your palate is now getting used to it. That first intense hit is a shock. It's almost like when you take a sip of whiskey or you smell whiskey the first time, the first impact is a little intense, and then you do it again, you wait a little bit, you let your palate assimilate it, your nose assimilate it, you take another, and then that's when you can actually start smelling more aromas and start actually analyzing it.
Sure.
And what notable construction techniques were used for crafting the cigar?
Very traditional Davidoff. When we make this cigar, we make sure that the cigar is evenly constructed, and we use a bunching method that we like to call accordion style, where we fold the leaves in 3s and 4s, creating airways so that the cigar has perfect draw at all times.
Sure. And now they're into the middle of the cigar itself. What kind of flavors are you getting out of it?
So those woody notes are still there, but now we are starting to feel some more nutty notes. Towards the back of the palate, you're gonna start seeing maybe some coffee. We are in the morning, and I am enjoying a coffee with this cigar. But basically, you're gonna start seeing less harsher notes and then a little bit more rounder notes towards the back, and it starts moving towards the front, and you start feeling a little bit of sweetness coming in. Starts smoothing out a little bit, kind of like cream. It's no longer the harsh flavors, but now you feel your whole palate being stimulated a little bit more mellow towards the front.
You definitely haven't lost the body or the intensity, but it's kind of, as you say, become a little bit more rounded experience. And then I know you're a man who smoked many of these cigars, I'm sure, in quality control tests. You got to make sure the product's good. So once we get down to the end of this cigar, what can we expect to experience?
Well, definitely the caramel notes that you were mentioning will become a lot more pronounced. The sweetness balances out the back, always maintaining that body and always maintaining that woody nature towards the back of the palate. This is a cigar that's very flavorful, and in that Robusto format will never stop giving you flavor. So it's great because you can have it early in the morning to begin your morning with a nice kick, but you can have it also later at night with intense flavors anywhere in the world that it might take you.
Sure. So I know with the two prior Churchill releases, we're kind of favoring lighter experiences or pairings with the first release, and then with the late hour, we're looking at obviously potentially the late hour pairing with some single malt whiskeys, some rums, etc. So you're saying that you think this is more of a potentially all-day smoke?
This is definitely afternoon, late at night smoke, but make sure that if you're gonna have it in the morning, expect nice flavor, and then maybe pair it with something like coffee or pair it with something that's gonna be more intense, because this is a very, very flavorful smoke, and you do not want it to, I don't want to say it like this, but potentially start your day off with too much, right? It would be a shame. Make sure to be on a full stomach when you have this cigar. Some people that have already smoked this cigar, I mean, this cigar was released not even a month ago, beginning of January, and some people that have already had it are saying this is probably one of the stronger cigars that Davidoff makes. It is a limited edition, but it is a pretty powerful cigar. for Davidoff standards.
So a little bit higher than, you know, or in line with like a Yamasar, Nicaraguan.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So if you're familiar with those blends, this might be something that would interest and stimulate your palate in a different way, but a similar kind of fullness profile.
And out of curiosity, would Davidoff ever consider introducing this as a permanent family member of the Winston Churchill line?
This is a limited edition. No plans for it. Normally limited editions are one-offs, and I have never seen a limited edition become a regular line.
Okay.
But this is definitely, well, you know, Winston Churchill is somebody that we can play off great. You know, he's a man of many different characters, and I am pretty sure that you will continue to see different things coming out of the Winston Churchill line.
Okay.
Because
something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And for those watching who aren't perhaps familiar with the relationship between Davidoff and Winston Churchill, perhaps you'd like to elaborate on that.
Yeah, we are actually the only company that can make a cigar for the Churchill family. So we started in 2008 with the original release of Winston Churchill line with the grandson of Winston Churchill. And then now we are working with the great-grandson, Randolph Churchill. Both phenomenal people.
Yeah, Shaw and I actually had the pleasure of meeting him at an event in New York, and he was definitely a very charismatic and quintessentially British gentleman.
It was a very memorable experience, yeah.
Yeah, well, Shaw showed up in you know, a full tweed ensemble, and they hit it off straight away, which is great.
I suppose a final question would be is whether there are any future plans for other limited editions like this that you'd be able to talk to us about, or is it very hush-hush at the moment?
Well, there are limited editions coming always. You know, there's new cigars always coming, and you can expect some more limited editions coming out. Not necessarily out of the Winston Churchill line, but Davidoff will be releasing some. So soon, if this video gets released in the next couple months, you might be seeing one just around that time. So you might have gotten already a sneak peek at the factory yourself.
We did.
You did.
Thank you, Mr. Diaz.
But I'm just saying that's not something we can talk about until it gets released to the public.
Sure.
But do look forward to new limited editions. Limited editions have become a thing of the industry, and we make sure that every limited edition that gets done is something special, something different, something unique.
Because you have such a large inventory. I mean, we've done a full-length documentary on how cigars are made here in the Dominican Republic by Davidoff Cigars, and just the sheer volume of inventory, I think, is one of your secret weapons. And obviously, you can draw from those stores. You know, we interviewed the general manager of Davidoff here,
Hamlet.
Thanks,
and you know, he was sharing some of those experiences. So in the description below, you're going to see a hell of a lot of links and a playlist of all the content that we've filmed here over the last week in the Dominican Republic. So please feel free to check out those resources as well if you want to learn more about cigars, more about Davidoff, and see a little bit of the Dominican Republic at the same time as well.
Now, I want to ask you guys a question.
Yeah.
With the theme, The Traveller, where would you guys like to smoke this?
Well, right now we're smoking beautiful Dominican Republic. I was actually going to touch on that.
This is a little,
appropriate.
this is a little nice, huh?
It is nice. Where are we exactly? The Ocean Club?
Yeah, we are actually in Sosúa,
Yeah.
in the northern part of the Dominican Republic, at the Ocean Club, a luxury collection resort. So definitely with a great view, and we have already experienced last night how the sun sets here perfectly. It's one of the best views for sunsets in the whole Dominican Republic.
You can see that in the late hour view where we were filming it just the right time. It couldn't have been more appropriate.
Yeah.
Over Puerto Plata, which is over to the side here. So yeah, I'm sure Charles got a kind of a slow motion capture of that, so he might even put it in this video for you guys.
Yeah.
Which should be great. Okay, anything else to round this one off?
I think we summed it up wonderfully. I think the next thing to do would be enjoy the cigar a little bit more before we leave.
Yeah, mine's gone out.
Mine's gone out too.
Mine's gone out, and we're actually...
Yes, you talk too much.
We were planning on a video on if and how you can relight a cigar, so I'm sure that'll be the follow-up to this naturally, as we both let our cigars go out, unfortunately. But the master...
What a coincidence.
You know.
There is a moment every 30 seconds, depending on every cigar, you should be taking a puff on it. And sometimes we fall in these kind of videos and tours, we fall into the habit of talking too much and not paying attention to our cigars.
I've seen it happen to you and your father on this trip, so I don't feel too bad. So.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah, which is good. Okay, so if you like this video, please do click that like button, subscribe to the channel, because there'll be many more cigar videos coming out from this Dominican trip and future videos as well as many more men's lifestyle topics that we cover here at Bespoke Unit. See the description for all the different elements we've mentioned, as well as leave any comments and questions that you may have for myself, Charles, or Klaas himself. So with all of that being said, my name's Paul Anthony.
I'm CP.
And I'm Klaas Kelner.
And see you next time.
Take care.
I'll say it. Cheers.
Well, Charles-Philippe and I really hope you enjoyed that video. Please also check out the full-length documentary of how Davidoff makes cigars.
And down here, there's a full playlist of our whole Dominican experience.